Hello and welcome to the Trading Mindset Podcast. My name's Nilton Fernandez, and on our podcast we look to talk to traders that have educated themselves to successfully trade the markets today. As you know, this can be a tough gig for anyone starting out, but we look to get inside the minds of these successful traders and understand the strategies that they use, the morning rituals or morning routines that they follow, and how they trade upon the economic news. We also have much more.
Hello, and my name is Louise Nonwheeler. I am the co-host of the Trading Mindset Podcast. I am a multi-award-winning clinical hypnotherapist and life coach, and I specialize in working with financial traders on their psychology of trading. In this podcast, we talk to traders about their emotions that they experience, the challenges that they face on a daily basis, and the techniques that they have used that have really helped them to get from where they are to becoming profitable traders.
Hello and welcome to the Trading Mindset Podcast. My name's Nilton Fernandez and I'm joined by my lovely co-host Louise Nonwheeler. How you doing, Louise?
I'm really well, thank you, Nilton. How are you doing today?
Yeah, not bad. Busy with work, so yeah, can't grumble, to be honest with you. Looking forward for the weekend. And yourself?
Yeah, good. Yeah, really had a nice day in nature. It was about -4, but but it was nice. So had a good day. Looking forward to the weekend as always, and also looking forward to having our very special guest on this evening.
Yes.
So without further ado, we have a very special guest on this evening. I've known James Harwood for many years. He's a very dear friend of mine, and he is a very knowledgeable trader. Welcome on the show, James.
Thank you very much. When you said very special guest, I was thinking, who's this going to be? I'm excited about this. And then I realised it was me.
You are a very special guest. So it's really nice to have you on.
Special in all the wrong ways.
So how are you doing today?
I'm all right. It's been an interesting day trading today. When I say interesting, I mean it's been completely boring. It's been like watching paint dry. And I didn't get a trade until 4:10 this afternoon.
Really? So
Yeah.
you were waiting all that time?
Yeah, waiting all that time. Just sitting, waiting.
That's part and parcel of it, I suppose. It's just being patient. You know, sometimes people just want to jump straight in, and that's where all the mistakes are being made. So,
Yeah.
you still in the trade now then?
No, I've come out now, although I did come out a bit early. But yeah, you're dead right. And this is one of the biggest lessons that I've had to learn, is that just because I'm trading doesn't mean I've got to sit down there and trade. And I think really a breakthrough for me came when I read somewhere that we're not actually traders. All of us, we're not traders. What we are is analysts, because we analyze for 99% of the time. Only 1% is trading. So we're analysts. So if you sit down and think of yourself as an analyst and not as a trader, it kind of helps you stopping to, jump into things that you perhaps shouldn't jump into.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, how did your journey come about? I mean, what was you doing before, and now, how did it all come together, and what made you decide trading is going to be the thing that I'm going to go forward with?
Well, I was in property for pretty much all my working life, and I kind of always caught the penny and missed the pound with property. So when I first got into it in the 80s, the boom had already happened. I left it for a little while and I came back into it in the 90s and the boom had already happened. I had my own estate agents and I opened it up a week before the Lehman Brothers went pop. So I don't know whether you remember that old golf advert where the bloke just constantly misses everything and loses everything, and he walks down an alleyway, he's lost all his money, and he looks at his nice shiny golf there. I was kind of the same with property, and I was working in an estate agent's for a friend of mine, and he took on another guy who he was doing a favour for, and this guy needed a job for 6 months because he had to reapply for his mortgage, and with the career that he had, he didn't pay tax, which caused a bit of a problem. So he needed to be on the books for 6 months, and it turned out that he was a trader. And he would come in the morning with his laptop and open it up, and he'd be messing around with it for about half an hour, and then he'd close it down. And we got into a conversation, and he said, well, I'll show you what I do. And he opened it up, and he opened up the charts, and I said, that is for me. That is what I want to do, because I'd always wanted to do something that was, firstly, a job on my terms, and secondly, a job that would reflect my rewards on how hard I worked. Whereas when you're working for somebody else, you can absolutely work your ass off, and you're not going to get the rewards that they're going to get out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I wanted something that was kind of in sync with how much I put into it. And that was it. So I started doing it. I was spread betting first, lost a lot of money in, 6 weeks, and thought, right, I need to learn how to do this. And found a company, signed up, paid an exorbitant amount of money to learn how to do it. Their education didn't really do it for me. I never made any money out of it, but I never stopped. So I think it's probably quite clear to say that I've now got my 10,000 hours of screen time, and it's finally been beneficial.
Are you trading full time now then?
Pretty much, yeah. I am trading full time. Yeah. I mean, I get up at, well, I said pretty much because if I've got my trades done by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm not trading anymore. But yeah, I get up at 5:15 in the morning. And like today, I was, sat in front of the screens until 4:10. Well, until 4:30 when I came out of the trade.
That transition from going from working full time to becoming a full time trader, how was that for you? I mean, was it daunting because obviously you're having to rely on your trades to pay some, your bills or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it is daunting. I have got a small part-time job which I use just to pay my fixed expenses over the month, so I don't have to worry about those. And it also takes the heat off. If I have a bad month trading, I know I can still pay the bills and it's not a problem. But you have to have a lump of money in the bank, otherwise you just can't do it, because it's going to raise a lot of emotions in you, and they're all going to be negative.
Yeah.
You're going to be panicking, you're going to be scared, so you don't want to do that. And even the best traders, I mean, I know a guy called Charlie Burton, who's a very, very famous trader. And even he says you really need another income as well. You don't just want to rely on trading, because it just has a negative impact on you.
Yeah. James, I've seen that so many times with traders where they've made that transition from going from like what they're doing, maybe working for somebody else, into becoming full-time traders or working for themselves as a trader. And I've seen it so many times and heard it so many times, they just crumble because it's the pressure. It's the pressure of it's the uncertainty, it's the unknown. And I think you do need another source of income or, sort of funds to back you up.
Yeah. I mean, there's an even more interesting dynamic to this, actually. And I've got proof, because my cousin was a perfect example of this. So I lost touch with my cousin years and years ago, and we got back in touch probably 2-3 years ago, and I was already trading by then. And it turned out she was a trader for Paribas, and she was very, very successful. And I don't know whether you know this, but traders in the banks and institutions actually, they earn their money through their bonuses, not through the trades they take. But obviously their bonuses reflect on how good they are as traders. So she was good. Anyway, she left, and I was talking to her, and I said, well, what do you do now? Expecting her to say, I'm sitting at home trading. And she says, I run a health and safety company or whatever. I said, why don't you trade? She said, I couldn't do it. She said, tried doing it at home for myself with my own money. Couldn't do it.
How interesting.
All those emotions that we all have came knocking on her door. And in fact, it was probably even worse for her, because she sat there saying to herself, well, what's going on? Because I know I can do this.
Yeah.
And I think when you're doing it with somebody else's money, it's a lot easier.
It certainly is. And saying that, I've worked with traders from large corporations, banks, and pretty much only seen them for the stress of the job, the long hours and sleep and stuff, but never about their performance. Whereas independent traders like yourself, people who trade for themselves, it's all of the emotions that come up. So there's definitely a difference between the two.
Yeah. Just about I remember when I first started out, I was so eager just to sit in front of a screen and try and get into trades. Now I couldn't think of anything worse, because for me, it's just like sitting in front of a screen watching whether or not you're going to get filled or not, and how you trade, or if you have been filled, and then watching if it's going your way. I couldn't think of anything worse because of the amount of emotions you're going through. And if it turns out that it goes against you, for me, it used to just ruin my day, and I used to feel like shit. So I couldn't think of anything worse. So I tried to do the bigger time frames and just leave it.
Well, I mean, you've heard them say, have a plan and trade your plan, and that's very much what it is. I mean, so many times in the not too distant past, I would, get up, sit in front of the screens and have a, itchy trigger finger and get into trades that I shouldn't have got into. And it's taken a while for me to accept that. So I have a very strict sort of protocol that I follow when I first sit down in front of the screens, and that's a top-down approach on the time frames. I only trade cable, okay? So I only trade pound dollar. So I have a top-down analysis of that, but then I also have a top-down analysis of the Dixie, the dollar basket. And until I've gone through all that stuff, I don't trade. Even if a setup comes as I'm halfway through it, I don't trade. And then once I've done that, I mark off my zones that I'm interested in. So I know, well, if price gets here and it's doing this, I'm buying. If price gets there and it's doing that, I'm selling. And the rest of the time is just sitting waiting for price to get to those points. And that is it.
Yeah.
That is all.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of traders, don't they, James? They struggle with boredom, impatience, and you've got to see it like you're being paid to wait. Like you said, it's 99% analysis, being the analyst.
But it's never wasted. I mean, not for me, because for instance, today I'm sitting there thinking, well, this is not much fun. So I started messing around with the MT4 platform and realised that I could drop a moving average onto an RSI. I didn't know I could do that.
There you go.
So, and you sort of constantly backtest. You look at price and you say, oh, look, I wonder why it did that when that happened. And, so you're always messing around with the charts. And I can't sit at my desk. I'm looking at my charts now. I can't sit at my desk and not mess around with the charts. Now, doesn't mean I'm getting into trades. It means that I'm genuinely interested in why price has done what it's done. It's come down from that level. Why did it come down from that level? Go through the time frames, look at the moving averages. Oh, look, on the 1 hour time frame, it hit a 200 moving average. There you go. And you just absorb all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, forever learning.
Would you say you're a bit of a trading geek then?
No, I'm not an anything geek, Milton. I'm a very cool bloke. I'm like the John Travolta of traders.
You are, absolutely.
Not the Bernard Manning. Don't listen to Louise.
Just wanted to butt in there, because there's something that you said that I wanted to touch upon. So you trade only 2 assets, right?
No, I only trade 1 asset.
Aha. Okay, because it raises an interesting point. I see a lot of traders, they really, they try and trade everything. Would you say that sticking with just maybe 2 or 3 is definitely beneficial, and has it worked out for you? Because some people, they try and spread themselves too thin and try and do everything and trade like NASDAQ, S&P or whatever, gold, whatever. But they never really master the markets, do they? They just sort of...
It depends what...
Too thin.
Yeah, it depends what sort of person you are, and that's quite important. You've got to be honest about who you are, because if you're not, trading will find your faults. So if you convince yourself that your brain's really fast and your neurons move at light speed and you can do this and you can do that, and you try and do it, trading will show you that you're lying to yourself. So you've got to be honest with yourself. And the fact is that my neurons, I think I've only got one of them, and he's got a pedal bike and he gets lost. So when he goes from one part of my brain to the other with a message, he quite often takes a wrong turn, or he just gives up halfway through and has a sleep. So I know that I really need to specialize in one thing.
Yeah.
And it's been really beneficial, actually, because I've really got to know it, so much so that I can look at the charts now. I can look at a 5-minute chart, and as long as I'm awake properly and I've had 10 coffees, I can look at it and say, do you know what? That's going to do this. Like the trade I took at 4:10 today, pounds worked its way up from lunchtime. So I know now that at some point during the day, usually the cable will change direction. So it had gone up just after the US Open or just before. Got to about 4:10, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, on a 5-minute chart, mind you, I'm looking at it thinking, that's going to drop off. That's going to go down. And it's because I'm kind of tapped into it and I look at it so much and I see how the candles form. And I see what happens when it breaks a certain moving average and doesn't break another. So, I just sat there with it for a minute and thought, yep, that's going. So I just shorted it and off it went. And also I knew, and I'm quite angry with myself, I knew it was going to go down and hit the 50 moving average. So I was going to wait until then. But time got the better of me and I had to go and do other things. And so I came out of it before it got to the 50. But sure enough, it's gone through the 50 now. It's actually gone through the 100 and the 200 as well. So you just know, for me, I can't do that with a whole load of different products. It's not going to work.
Yeah. I mean, you said it's gone past where you thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
There's that other side of things, when you come out of a trade and you think, oh, I should have stayed in. How do you deal with that? Because I used to find that just as hard as,
Yeah. Well, I still do it in some cases. However, I'm just trialing away now, actually, that I'm going to be able to deal with that. And that is basically that, unfortunately, on MT4. So for my analysis, I use investing.com, and my MT4 is simply execution. Unfortunately, with MT4, you can't close out a trade partially, which is a real pain, because when I was with FXCM, you could close down half your trade. So you hit a target, you know about this, you hit a target and you can close off half, move your stop and keep the rest running. The only way to do that with MT4 is to open 2 trades very quickly, which you can do just at click of a button. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So when I do hit the target, I do have a very strongly defined target using the RSI. When I hit the limits on my RSI, I'll close one of those orders out, move my stop up and keep the other one running. And I'm going to see how that goes for a month or so. And if I find that it's coming back and stopping me out and I'm not losing any money, but I'm not making any, then I'm just going to have to carry on as I am. But I kind of get to know where it's going to go. And the only reason I closed out early on this one was because I had to go and do other things. But if I'd waited and closed out on the 50, it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a bad winning trade.
Yeah. I mean, it just boils down to greed, doesn't it? Really?
Oh, it does. I mean, I've got a friend of mine, God, we trade together. And ages ago, I said to him, look, we were told by somebody, we were taught a certain strategy, and that part of that strategy was when to come out. And that's using the RSI. And I kept saying to him, look, you need to come out with this. Oh, no, I'm going to leave it running. I'm going to leave it running. And I kept saying to him, the thing is that he'd stay in these trades and he'd be right. He'd get 50, 60, 70 pips. And I'm like,
wow,
why can't I do that? Why am I getting 10 or 12? But then, I kind of came to realize that actually he was holding on, but actually that wasn't one trade. That was 3 trades worth, because price was moving. Then it was leveling out. Then it was going again. Then it was leveling out. Then it was going again. And each time it went again, it was giving another signal. So actually he wasn't staying in it for one big trade. He was staying in it for 3 smaller ones.
I see. Yeah.
And they're not working at the moment, interestingly. And he said to me the other day, it was like hearing my own words back to me. Oh yeah, I think what we should do is come out at the other end of the RSI. And I'm like, yeah, what was I saying 6 months ago?
That's what I've been telling you.
Yeah.
James, do you think there is such a thing as a perfect trade?
I think there was when Donald Trump used to tweet. If he was fortunate enough to be in a trade when he's tweeting, then
what you mean, like his family?
Yeah.
Right. Is there such a thing as a perfect trade? In your head, probably. But whether technically it's a perfect trade, I don't know. There's too many variables.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, your reality is your truth.
That's right.
So if you think it was a perfect trade, it was a perfect trade.
Good answer. Perfect answer to a perfect question.
Well, yeah. Was that the one I gave you?
So just another question. What do you feel, if you can remember, because, you've been trading for many years now, is there a memory or something from the past that you thought that was the riskiest trade I've ever made? I just can't do that again. Is there anything that you sort of comes to mind?
Yeah, although I did shorten my lot size massively to protect myself, but I did quite enjoy trading the non-farm. And it was just a question of waiting for price to go up, waiting for it to level out, and then taking the opposite trade. And it's always risky, but it is good fun. And it's quite good, actually, because it's the only time when I allow myself to gamble.
Okay.
So it's my little treat once a month, really. So I just take the lot size right down. So it's not really going to make any difference either way. We're talking pence or, a few quid, handful of quid, a loss or a gain. But it's kind of good sport. And in some ways, it kind of gets it out my system.
Yeah.
That's not bad thinking, actually, to be fair.
Yeah, I could see that working, actually, especially if it's very small lot size or pennies.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people do it with a demo account. They'll have a demo account running by the side and they'll blow off steam with that.
Yeah.
But I can't do it with demo. I stayed on demo too long and it kind of had a negative effect on me.
In what way?
Didn't take it seriously enough. So didn't really feel the losses, but just as importantly, didn't feel the gains either. And it's really important to feel the gains. They say that, you should be a robot. And in that way, it doesn't have a negative impact on you if you have a losing trade. And it's very true. But equally, for me, it's quite useful, the thrill of actually earning some money in a decent trade. It kind of eggs me on to do more and to work harder.
Yeah.
And when I say work harder, I don't mean take more trades. I mean work harder, do more analysis, be on the screens for longer. So for me, I kind of need that. Some people, we're all different. Some people are very much like a robot. There's, one guy who just, he just does, like 3 pips a day. He goes in big for 3 pips. I mean, he can be sitting there waiting for 8 hours for it to happen. And then he goes in massively for 3 pips and then he's out and that's it, done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So everyone's different. And that's the thing. You've got to trade your personality, not somebody else's.
Well, that's the thing. That is really important, isn't it? Because you could be shown a strategy that works, you back test, it works. But if it doesn't match or suit your personality, and this includes a time frame as well, it's never going to work. It would be too difficult.
Well, it's like, you pick up a book to read, and some books you just can't get into, can you?
Yeah. Exactly.
You start reading it and you think, I just can't get into this. And it's almost like it has to be in sync with your brain waves, And it's the same with trades. Some strategies, it's just like, no, it's just not going to work for me. So, and then that brings me back to having to be honest about who you are and all that stuff. You can't fool yourself. So, be honest about who you are. And if you see videos of some idiot driving around in a Lamborghini telling you that he got all that with through buying Bitcoin or whatever, he did it.
Yeah.
If he did it, fine. But that's not me. I can't trade that way. I'm just going to do what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you say you can't trade that way, you mean like these people probably just taking a punt on some crypto and then they've just got lucky?
Yeah, I mean, if they have, obviously there's a lot of mistruths out there, isn't there, to try and get you onto sites and stuff. But yeah, some people trade for the big win all the time. For me, it's got to be a much more structured and slower process.
I think for me, it's consistency and just, gains. Just as long as I'm making gains, and that's it. Consistency is definitely the key.
Yeah. James, you've been trading for many years. Obviously, we've known each other for many years. And, I've seen you personally progress so much in personal development and in trading and really like overcoming challenges. What's the best advice that you could give to a trader that's starting out?
Best advice. Be patient is really important. And I think the other thing is, what we said about earlier, don't watch all these videos of people telling you this and telling you that. Just get lots of screen time and learn these things by yourself, because you need to do it for yourself. And when you see things connecting on the charts and you realize, oh, that's related to that and this and that, and wow, that happened because of this, it sticks.
Yeah.
If you watch a video where someone's telling you, you're not going to absorb it.
I think that's very valuable advice. Really.
Well, it's just screen time. It's all about screen time.
Yeah.
You have to be in front of the screens a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for me, I love the analysis part and learning like new strategies. I find it really interesting, and I could sit and listen to someone from the academy that I'm part of and just teach me a strategy. I just want to learn everything, and just, why did that do that? So for me, that, it's important just to have screen time, like you said. So
yeah, you got to do that. I mean, what I wouldn't do is I would try and stick to a strategy that you feel quite comfortable with and that you've had some success with, as opposed to searching out something completely different. Because although screen time is really important, it's got to be the right screen time, because you don't want to be running up a load of dead end roads.
That's right. Yeah.
Because you just actually, that's a perfect example of completely wasting your time.
Yeah.
So, when you do find a strategy that you like and you've had some success with, you're comfortable with it, just stick with that. I think most strategies work to a degree, but they work for different people. So, although people will say, oh, I use the moving average, I use the RSI, I use the stochastic, blah, blah, blah. What works for them is great, but just find what you're comfortable with and really focus on that, because it's amazing what you'll learn, as the years go by about one strategy that you didn't realize.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of like you said, there's so much out there. I mean, you look on Instagram, there's people in front of helicopters, Ferraris, good for them. But, there's a sort of real life as well, because it's not a race, it's a journey. It takes time. And like you said, it takes consistency and a lot of time in front of the charts. You've got to be almost hungry for it. You've got to be committed. And over time, with patience,
Yeah.
comes success with hard
Well,
work.
it does. And it does. And it has to be your version of success, not anybody else's.
Exactly.
I'll tell you a little story about these Ferraris and stuff like that. I know this guy who runs a trading school, very successful, very good. I completely endorse them. He saw this video of this trader sitting on the bonnet of a Bugatti or a Lamborghini or something. And he happened to mention it to one of the students. And there was something specific about the car, and he mentioned it. And that student said to him, "That's my car. I own a car hire company, and that guy rented it for a photo shoot."
Wow.
I was going to say that. I was going to let you finish the story, but that's what a lot of them do.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. For me, I don't buy into all that bollocks. To be honest with you.
No.
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's, I think there's probably just as much money to be made by education in this game now than there is by, actually playing the game.
Yep. And psychology too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's a big business. So.
And it's going to increase as well. I think the more people that are working from home, that, after this pandemic and stuff like that, people have been sort of looking at their lives and reassessing what they want to do and how they want to do it and how they want to earn their money. I think trading's probably going to go through the roof.
Well, it has over the last 2 years. I don't know what the percentage is, but it has. I mean, there are so many more traders over the last 2 years. So I don't blame them. I just feel like, would you rather sort of do 40-hour week working for somebody and like you said, make the money for them, or would you kind of decrease that by 50% or more? And,
I welcome them. I mean, the more of them that are on the other side of my trade, the better.
James, do you have, being a successful trader and people seeing your success, do you have anyone come up to you, like friends and family, asking you to teach them? Suddenly, like, we're talking about an increase in traders. And I was inundated with maybe 2 or 3 people just asking me, "Oh, Neil, you still trading? Can you teach me?" And I'm like, "Well, what are you going to give for me?" And they're just like, "Well, nothing." So I'll do one then.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. I don't get people doing that. I mean, I've got a couple of friends who I am going to teach how to trade to sort of improve their lives because they're struggling a bit. But I don't get people coming up and asking me to teach them to trade. However, the naysayers, of which there was a few, now don't discuss or acknowledge my trading, which means that they've kind of realised that, I did stick to it and I did do it. It's been a lot of long years, and I think everybody thought I was gonna give up. I've never given up. Given up on a lot of stuff in my life. This is the one thing that I've stuck to, and the reason I've stuck to it is because I knew and still know deep down that it'll work.
Yeah.
I've got this ignorant belief but I've never had it with anything else.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to turn my back on that.
Absolutely. And you deserve all of the success that you see and that you're still going to gain over time, James. I mean, I know how much work you've put into this, how many hours you've done, the sweat, the tears. Well, I don't think there's been many tears, but, you know, the highs, the lows. Yeah, you deserve all of this.
Empty whiskey bottles as well, Louise.
Empty whiskey bottles,
Obviously the Malibu.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a funny story. When I first started trading, when I was spread betting, I was in a trade and I decided I needed a piece. I went to the loo. That was the most expensive piss I've ever had in my life. I came back and I was 500 quid poorer, I tell you.
Oh, mate.
Dear, oh dear. Next time you have to hold it.
I think, the reason why you stuck at it and the reason why, a lot of people stick at it is because you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
For me, I knew once I started and understanding everything, I was like, this is for me, like you said, and I'm just passionate about it.
Yeah.
Who isn't about making money? As long as they're putting in the work and understanding the theory and stuff behind it, it's there for the taking. So I think that's why you stuck with it, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And for a long while, I mean, I know Louise knows this, but for a long while, I've kind of been a bit coy about being good at it and success and earning money and stuff like that, because, you get sort of imposter syndrome. But, after you've sweated a bit more blood and stuff, you do start to realise that, do you know what? Actually, I've worked at this.
Yeah.
I've worked hard. So.
Yeah. And, this is the thing, isn't it? It's you put the work into it, you put the hours into something, and not just trading, anything. Hard work brings success, doesn't it? So, and, it brings learning, growing. And I think with trading, it can bring up emotions that, we didn't know existed. It can bring up feelings, emotions, thoughts, and you think, especially in the beginning, and you think, where has this come from? But with that, we're learning, we're evolving, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who came out with that saying? I can't remember what it was, but the harder I work, the luckier I get. And it is really true.
Yeah, it really is. So, what keeps you motivated, James?
Massive bank account, I think.
No.
I'm only joking. I'm joking.
Having the life I want and not having to work for idiots.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I think that's what everyone strives for, isn't it? I suppose you've got so much time now to do what you want to do.
Well, I'm a bit older now, and I'm a lot less tolerant of people, and so I don't really want one of these idiots telling me what to do when I don't agree with them. So the thought of having to go back to that, no.
Absolutely. And again, I think the passion. When we're passionate about something, when we're doing something we love, we've naturally got the motivation, haven't we?
Well, we have, but it's so ingrained into me now, Louise. I've lived with it every second of my life for so many years, and it's so part of who I am that it doesn't actually feel like passion anymore. It just feels like me. It just feels like what I do.
Yeah, it's part
so
of
I don't
who
think
you are.
about it like that.
Yeah, of course. Funny question, but do you ever dream about trading?
No,
you don't.
Never.
Okay, interesting.
And I have some very, very, very strange dreams.
I don't think we can go into that.
This is a different episode, I think.
Oh, I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the dreams I have. I mean, they are just so out there. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, I'm thinking of writing a book about them all. It'd be great.
Like a memoir.
Oh, well, we'll have to wait for that then.
But never about trading.
Go on, James. Tell us one. Share one of your wacky dreams. If it's
no, they're not. No, they're not inappropriate.
Are they suitable?
They're not inappropriate. No.
All right.
Past all that.
Okay.
Do you know what? Now you've put me on the spot. I can't remember one. It's like trying to remember a joke, isn't it?
That's the thing about dreams, though, isn't it? They're in the back of the mind somewhere, but sometimes they're difficult.
Do you know, I honestly can't remember them. But I mean, I tell, Pip, my partner, about them, and she just looks at me, and I don't know whether she thinks, is tempted to call the men in the white coats or not. It's
we'll leave that for next time then.
Yeah. I'll try and remember some.
Perfect. All right, and then I think we should wrap it up now. James, obviously, it's been great insight into your life as a trader. We wish
I've
you all the
enjoyed it.
success, mate. And,
And
we
you.
should stay in contact. I mean, we sort of dropped off a little bit.
Absolutely.
Communications. Let's pick that up again.
Absolutely.
James, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Everybody listening to this is really going to find it valuable. Shame we didn't hear about the dream, but maybe another time. But no,
Dreams,
great advice. Really good advice from a very, very educated, knowledgeable, and successful trader. So really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps when we do it again, what we can do is sort of drill down into some examples and stuff like that, market stuff and
perfect
and stuff. So,
that would be good. Yeah, it'd be good for the listeners. And
cool.
Sounds good.
Perfect. All right, then let's finish up there. Before I go, I'd just like to say, stay tuned for our next episode because we've got Brandon Waddell coming on the show, who's a CMT, and he's taught many, many traders. So we're looking forward for that. Louise, if there's anything else you want to say?
No, just looking forward to February as well. We've got some really great traders coming on. We'll post details nearer the time, and dates as well. But thank you to everybody for listening. Thank you to James. And I'm guessing I'm going to have to say thank you to you as well, Nilton.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? All right, then.
My lovely co-host.
All right. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you are a trader who is struggling with their psychology and you would like more information on the Trading Mindset program, then please visit www.hypnosisfortraders.co.uk. The program is changing the lives for so many traders, and you can read and watch some many success stories. You can also access a free 21-day transformational audio. This is to help gain better self-discipline as a trader. So please visit the website. Thank you.